It's Texas where I am.
It's Texas where I am. That's not where I am. I'm not in Texas. But sometimes when people have YouTube channels, they do not rehearse what they're going to say, and they say crazy stuff like that. There's a lot of fun to be had just listening to vloggers, which is definitely one of the worst words that's ever existed. Vloggers talking about whatever they're talking about on their channel. And they say crazy stuff because they haven't rehearsed what they're going to say. They haven't written it down or anything. And so they say stuff like, it's Texas where I am instead of I am in Texas. And that's one of the most fun things about the internet. And the downside of the internet is it's caused the end of the world. So it's a two-sided coin. On the one side, you get to listen to people mangle grammar and feel good about yourself because you can talk better than them. And on the other side of the coin, your grandmother thinks that Joe Biden is the devil.
I know that's right.
Yeah, Facebook is changing its name. Did you hear that?
I believe it when I see it.
Right.
I believe it.
I mean, who cares anyway? What are they going to? They're going to change it. It's like iHeartRadio changed. I mean, Clear Channel changed their name to iHeartRadio, which I think is the funniest. Because Clear Channel had a bad reputation, for what is that noise? Oh, it's a jet or something. So I'm in Monrovia, California. So there's a jet going by. I'm wearing my AutoZone hat. I'm wearing my vintage AutoZone hat from Alicia Seabury. Alicia Scott sent me this great hat. It's a vintage AutoZone hat. I wear it sometimes. I just thought I'd mention it.
Is that a new one or is that the one you've had?
No, I've had it. I have a couple AutoZone hats. I used to do a real famous nonprofit AutoZone bit on Instagram for a couple of years, and I dropped it just because I got tired of taking my shirt off. But the gag was that I was a AutoZone employee that was on break and had his shirt off. And so I had an AutoZone hat that I bought at AutoZone. And you can buy hats at AutoZone, which I think is funny anyway, because who the fuck wants an AutoZone hat? I mean, I guess anybody who's in the parking lot working on their battery might buy one because they're in the sun or something and they forgot a hat. I guess that's why they sell them. Because
it could be the AutoZone saved your ass by getting you a piece of your engine that you needed.
Right, but you think people are repping like AutoZone? Like they won't, I don't think that's. I mean, that was why I thought it was funny. I thought as soon as I saw that AutoZone sold hats, I thought it was funny just because I was like, who wants to represent? I mean, you're supposed to, wealthy people like to wear hats that say like, I don't know, wooden schooner logger or whatever, or like they like to wear something like a Greg Norman, golf visor because that makes them. They like to associate themselves with the symbols of wealth through their hats. Nobody wants to wear a hat that says AutoZone on it. That's like wearing a hat on it that says, AutoZone.
Well, it's like a country club hat for lower class people.
I guess so, but even lower class people don't want to talk about AutoZone because that's like the scene of their greatest defeats.
No, that's where they get all the parts for their car.
Right, but they don't like that. That's not like they wish they had a car that where they didn't have to go to AutoZone unless they're restoring. You're talking about rockabilly people. Maybe rockabilly people like AutoZone hats because that's where they get their old time flugelhorns or whatever they put on their Blueberry Hill machine. I know they don't. I think they do that somewhere else. Like they, but yeah, I don't think anyone likes being at AutoZone. I mean, maybe there are people who like it. I don't like it because it's where I'm very confused. It's an area where I know nothing. Like everything there is intimidating, except they sell candy to make people like me feel better. Like, I'll take those windshield wipers and those peanut M&Ms.
I chose O'Reilly's over AutoZone just because I had been to AutoZone recently and not had a good experience really. And I had to go get expensive coolant for my Volkswagen. So as you get richer in your life, because I have a luxury imported automobile, you have to get more expensive coolant.
Yeah, what I never heard of. I didn't know there were different types of. I know I have to get for my Honda Fit. I have to get synthetic oil. You know, something I've just accepted. I don't know why. They just say you need synthetic oil. It costs more. And I'm like, okay.
I had to get G40 coolant.
Right. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, it cost $20. I don't know.
Yeah, what does that mean? It's like
it was pink.
You're gonna need G40, unfortunately.
I felt special though, and I felt like this is how it's gonna be now. More expensive coolant, higher taxes. I keep doing well in the stock market. Who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah, pretty soon you're gonna be so caught up in the world of high-priced coolants that when the grocery store opens, the grocery store has no food in it. You're gonna. This is a segue to. Right now, the internet's full of people yelling at people. Like there's people going to stores and not seeing any food, or some food is missing, or some items are missing, or the shelves are empty, or whatever, and they're just like, socialism has happened. Just because they saw bread lines, like the only reference point they have for it is like 1980s Soviet Union, which they also don't know what caused that. So they're just like, but they don't care. They're just like, Soviet Union. That's when I saw a picture of this. This is socialism. Joe Biden made it socialist. Which is really sad. I mean, for a while it didn't matter that Americans were uneducated, because if everybody has a job and like a pool hall to go to and change in their pocket for the game of pool and enough money for a 12-pack, everybody shuts their fucking mouth, and doesn't say anything dumb. But man, the people talking about the fact that there's no food on the shelves have obviously never thought about anything related to that, but they still have, like, they've never one time ever thought about where food comes from until now. And they're just like, oh, it's from socialism. The food's gone like Russia. And
well, this must be on
really
Twitter or something. I haven't seen any information like this. There's no food anywhere. Where are you?
It's on Twitter. But it's on Twitter. I mean, like, it's people immediately have decided that the supply chain has been interrupted because Joe Biden's a socialist, which couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, Joe Biden, we haven't even gotten he hasn't gotten a damn thing done. And we don't have any health care. Socialism would imply, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just that there are people who have never in this country, listen to me, it's Texas where I am. People in this country,
it's Texas where I am,
have had such a smooth ride since the economic boom post World War II that they don't know anything about anything at all. They only know how to complain. Everything is either fine or else it's everybody else's fault. They have no clue as to how anything works at all. They just know about debit cards and trying to get their kids into good schools. And then when there's no food, they're just like, what is this? I paid my debit card. They don't even know what they're talking about. I paid my debit card. What do you mean you paid your debit card? You know what I mean? Give me my food. It's crazy.
Miss Happy Sunshine said, I wish so much that Biden was a socialist.
I hope the fucking supermarkets all empty out completely. I'm willing to die to watch everybody just lose their minds. Because I'll die. I mean, I can't grow my own food. I grew up in the same post-World War II bubble that all of us did. I'm not saying I'm better than these people, but do a little bit of thinking before you start yelling socialist and Biden and everything. Like, it's like if you blamed, I don't know. It's like the only thing they forgot about everything as usual. Like we left Afghanistan and people were upset about that for like 45 minutes. And then they have no memory for anything. They think Biden's the person who's on television now, so it's his fault. And if there was a grapefruit on television, they'd blame the grapefruit. I mean, they don't have any, they're just wild people. America's full of wild, uneducated people who throw accusations at everybody without any any anything behind them. And then when you say you've got nothing behind your accusations, they say America's always been great because we don't have to have anything behind our accusations, you socialist. The fact that America doesn't know anything is one of its greatest strengths. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I can't believe people are saying Biden's responsible for the shelves being empty. They were empty last year too, at the beginning of the pandemic. Like, there's no pandemic happening. That might not have the worldwide pandemic might not have something to do with the fact there's no food on the shelves. It's all Biden's fault and socialism. I mean, it's just we really are not prepared in America for pretty much anything except for the norm, and it's upsetting. It's upsetting to watch, but it's also kind of funny because we really we're raised to believe that all we needed to know were the names of Christopher Columbus's ships, and we were all set. As long as you knew the names of the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, you were good for, I don't know, at least 80 grand a year. And certainly the shelves would always be full because that shit only happens in fucking socialist countries for reasons unknown to us, because we don't even know how socialist countries work or anything works. We don't even believe other countries exist. Americans do not even believe that other countries really exist, which is why they think the pandemic is a trick that's just been done to Americans, because they really don't believe. They believe there are a few vacation spots that exist. Like, they believe in like Turks and Caicos. They believe in Venice, Italy, but they definitely don't believe in like Mongolia. Like, if you asked an American, I bet if you had a poll of Americans and you asked them if they thought Mongolia was real, 75% would say no. But if you said, is like Bermuda real, then they'd all say yes. That'd be like 100%. Yeah, oh yeah, Bermuda's real. So that's the state of the world address. Can you hit the I heard it on the internet button?
We heard it through the internet.
Yeah, can you hit it again?
We heard it through the internet.
But seriously, I can't believe they're going to rebrand Facebook. What are they going to name it? Like Normal Book or something? Or like We Didn't Do Anything Wrong Book? Like, what are they going to... Why have we not broken up Facebook? Why have we...
Path to bad decisions, path to guilt and shame.
We already have all the evidence is in. We know for a fact this thing has made it so certain people have their own reality that has nothing to do with reality, simply because an algorithm has driven nothing but completely crazy news to them because they know that they will click on it. So the model for Facebook is, okay, if your grandma clicks on one thing that says Joe Biden's a socialist and that's why the shelves are empty, then they just flood her with that shit. So all she gets is craziness. And then she's completely crazy. And then you, for some reason, I'm a liberal, so I fucking click on other kinds of shit, like, I don't know, Ari Melber or something. And then I got Ari Melber talking to me all the time. And the two of us meet in an alley and kill each other in a knife fight based on nothing. You know, my own grandmother. Me and my grandmother hitting each other with blackjacks down by the docks. Me saying Ari Melber and her saying socialism or whatever the fuck's happening. And I'm wearing a t-shirt that says MSNBC, and she's wearing one that says Facebook rules or something. It's really, why have we not broken up Facebook? That's all I want to know. We even had an employee testify to the fact that they know this is happening. Anybody could figure this out. The whole model for clicking on things is bad news. Nobody clicks on good news. It's boring. People click on conspiracies and bad news. So you don't even have to have a whistleblower to say, like, the model of Facebook is that crazy conspiracies get more clicks than like regular truths. Anybody can figure that out. It's the whole problem with this new society, is that people only click on crazy shit. They only click on a monkey smoking a cigar. They're not going to click on a monkey sitting on a tree. Thank you. You can quote me on that. But it's true. I mean, if the monkey's not smoking a cigar, they're not going to click on it. So the equivalent of a cigar is like, you know, if Biden's just a regular kind of mediocre corporate president, that's not going to get a click. But if you say Biden's like got, you know, is an automaton controlled by Vladimir Putin or something, that's going to get a click, even if it's not true. And even if the whole thing underneath that is banner ads for like penis expansion, like once you weigh these articles are also just loaded with ads that make it completely clear that they're not true. I mean, if you're whatever you clicked on, if your news has like tons of penis extension ads on it, it's probably not real. And vagina extension. Is that a thing? People want bigger vaginas? Probably not.
I think they want smaller ones.
I don't know what it is, but all those kinds of ads for smaller vaginas and bigger penises and people who have too big penises that need them shortened. If there's ads like that all over your news, you might want to think about what kind of news source you're checking out. Anyway, I can't believe we haven't taken apart Facebook. If this
I was looking at some stats today from Facebook, and they make so much money. It's like $85 billion a year. It's not pure profit, but that's their gross revenue on ads. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like in the 1930s, they would have broken Facebook up, no problem. Tax rates on wealthy people were like 80% too, and now they're like 22%. 25% or whatever it is, and wealthy people are like, these are unprecedentedly high tax rates and all these other lies and but I can't believe that Facebook has been proven to be a war starter and we can't stop it. And I want to know why, because it's not even helpful. We don't need it. If I made a company that was destroying the earth, you can be damn sure they would shut it down. What if I made an app that was like making everybody strangle each other and it was called Strangle Boy or whatever? I don't know, or Strangle Man or Strangler with no E in it. STRANGLR. I made an app called Strangler, and as soon as you press the button, you started strangling people. Somebody would tell me to stop doing it. That's what Facebook is doing.
They have $16 billion cash on hand.
Well, that's why. Yeah, because they're breaking off chunks of that cash for these fucking politicians, and that's what's up. But we need to stop it, and we're going to stop it with this show. And
they
can start
by
Venmoing me money.
In June alone, the net income of $10 billion.
So anyway, Venmo me money, and I will get it to the right people.
Canaries!
Hey, look at this. See this stuff? Stumptown Original?
What's that?
Cold brew. It's terrible.
I heard that stuff stinks.
It's terrible.
Sticking your nose in a coffee bag. There ain't a whole hell of a lot better than that.
Stumptown. I'll say it's good if you give us some money. Stumptown sucks. It's a shitty coffee brand. They suck. I'm not serious. I'll take it back. Don't get mad at me, Stumptown. I need money from you. Stumptown's terrible. Send me money. Tell me. Give me some money and I'll say it's good. Stumptown. This is a message for Stumptown. Okay, so anyway. Welcome to the show every Wednesday. Cold Brew Got Me Like, the show of shows. The podcast of podcasts. The number one podcast right behind that guy who eats old food. New England wildlife and more.
Glorious Garbage said, I agree Stumptown isn't great. We cannot hear the whispers.
Okay, well, so what? Stumptown probably can. That doesn't make any sense. I don't care if you can't really hear the whispers for real?
I don't know. I could hear them. Jem said he could hear them.
Yeah, right. So it's Hunter. Glorious Garbage is this guy named Hunter. I've talked about him before. He 3D printed his ball sack. For real. We talked about it.
Just like Jeff Bezos, right?
Did Jeff Bezos 3D print his ball sack?
Well, we talked about his balls in the last show. His balls were the engine for the rocket.
Oh, yeah. So it's all making sense. Okay, all right. What was I going to say today? Oh, we were going to talk about briefly, um, in Nashville, Tennessee, um, the Ryman Auditorium hosted the Daily Wire, in the Ryman, and the Ryman used to be a church. A lot of times they call it the mother church, um, of country music because the Grand Ole Opry used to be there. Is there a way you can make it bigger? Like you can even get us, Eric, can you put it up like so you can see that horrible statue of Elizabeth Warren? Yes, no problem. Anyway, the Daily Wire is this network of right-wing podcasts and broadcasts and actually zooming in on that. Can you zoom it all the way in? Just we can go back. You can go back to putting it on the side, but just can you show that? Yeah, okay. That's a statue. That's a cigar store Indian with Elizabeth Warren's head on it. And these guys are sitting in the Ryman Auditorium, which in an informal way actually represents Nashville for a lot of people. I mean, people look to the Ryman as like the sacred heart of Nashville in a way. I mean, there's not much else there. Nashville has torn down so much of its history and replaced it with these, gingerbread condos that look like L.A. or I'm sure France looks like that too now. Anywhere these condominiums they put up with the roof decks and the fire pits and all that bullshit that's everywhere. And the upper middle class dream of living in something that looks like I don't know, an aluminum can with windows in it, and then on top you get a fire pit. So that's what Nashville looks like. And they fucking host these people. And I just don't think there's been enough talk about it. I mean, the Ryman needs to answer for this shit because these people are not like a lot of people think, oh, Ben Shapiro's an intellectual. Ben Shapiro's not an intellectual. I've listened to enough Ben Shapiro to know that Ben Shapiro is a fucking opportunist, sociopathic, racist, homophobe, just a terrible guy. And he has a huge influence, a huge reach already. And the last thing that Ryman needs to do is be legitimizing these fucking people. And the thing is that means that someone in the Ryman sympathizes with these people because whoever approved this, these people are not just saying like, oh, like we're mad at liberals or I hate cancel culture or whatever. Those are their most public things that they're known for saying. But Ben Shapiro has said that who's a real Jew and who's not a real Jew, that the liberal Jews are not real Jews. On stage at the Ryman, I watched this broadcast. I watched part of it. I can't even watch, I'm not watching it. I don't care what these people have to say. They're not honest. They're not normal. They have psychiatric problems, and I have psychiatric problems too, but they have the unpleasant kind. And it's a Klan meeting. These people really, and people would say, oh, well, they have there's a diverse group. It's like a white guy and a Jewish guy and a black woman, and it can't be and a statue of a cigar store Indian with a fucking, but this couldn't be a Klan meeting because it's diverse. Well, here's the thing. Klan meetings don't make any sense. White supremacy doesn't make any sense. It's a form of it's a psychiatric disorder to be part of that. So there's room for every color and every creed at a fucking Ku Klux Klan meeting because a Ku Klux Klan meeting is like a grab bag of misfits. It doesn't matter what kind they are. These people there's something wrong with them. They're ghouls. You don't sit on stage with a cigar store Indian in 2021 unless you're a piece of shit. And then if you put it, and then you sit and the Ryman basically allowed their stage to host a Klan meeting. I mean, look into what these people say, on stage, they talked about some transgender. They're like, oh, transgender bathroom. Some straight kid in a dress went in the bathroom and raped somebody as if that's what a transgender person is. It's like a straight person in a dress and the crowd all gasped, and their point was, so they're sitting in the Ryman, which used to be a church, talking about God's children, in ways that are, well, certainly not Christian. Let's put it that way. Or Jewish or anything. It's just hate. So I just want to mention once again that this happened at the Ryman. It happened a couple of weeks ago, or maybe even 10 days ago. And I think the Ryman's approach to it was just not to talk about it, because a lot of people wanted a statement from them, and they just refused to give one.
Yeah, it was October 12th.
Which is smart for them, you know. It's smart for them from a business standpoint not to talk about this, because it'll start a. But I would like to talk about this. I would like to know who at the Ryman thought that this was okay, and I would like to know at what point Nashville is going to draw a line with these people. Parlor apparently has moved their headquarters to Nashville. These people have moved their headquarters to Nashville. These people are not just like the other side, like, oh, we're going to have the other opinion. These people are bigots, and they're really, really powerful. They have tons of money, and they're not harmless. And your kids are listening to them. They have like Ben Shapiro's show is more popular than the New York Times podcast. Ben Shapiro has more reach than the New York Times. So just open your eyes, parents. Like, and fucking us too. I'm not saying just parents. I'm just saying this should be more public, and I'm going to write about it. And I don't know if that'll do anything, but this is not a mild thing. These people should not be socially accepted. Read up on what they talk about. Listen to what they say. They should be chased out of town. And it's not because I don't think both sides should have a voice. They are fomenting violence. That's the name of their game. The end game of hate is violence. And that's what they're promoting. Whether or not they'll be like, oh, violence happened, I didn't expect that to happen. Well, that's the same thing they always say. That's the same thing that Trump said after he said that back in my day at rallies, people got carried out on stretchers. And then 4 years later, we get the fucking insurrection. You know, these people are fucking bomb throwers. They're fucking trolls and misfits, and they've got really big problems. And once again, I'm a misfit. I'm not putting down misfits, but these are misfits of the kind that you actually have to be careful of and take a stand against. You can't let them run loose, because to ignore them is to implicitly approve of them, or, you know, to normalize them. These people should be shamed. If this ever happens again, there should be pickets, and I would like to be there to picket, because they are not, you know, this is not harmless or something that's going to go away without making them go away. They have millions and millions and millions of dollars from these shows. Like, I know how much podcast people make, and Ben Shapiro's making tens of millions of dollars. This guy's not going anywhere. Him and his friends, you know, that are all fucking crazy. These are crazy people. You shouldn't host crazy people.
Well, if you're saying it's similar to the Klan, it makes me think of Mississippi. I went to school in Mississippi and learned about the Sovereignty Commission, and there was the Klan, but then there was the Citizens Council. And the Citizens Council were the white business people that got together and met with the Klan, were friends of the Klan behind closed doors. But really, they had business meetings that tried to keep everything white. And so it's reminding me that this is more of a Citizens Council meeting than a Klan meeting, maybe.
Sure. I just mean that you don't have to.
I mean, they're about,
because they cloak themselves.
They cloak themselves straight. Let's keep these citizens. They're all about good citizenry, right? I mean,
yeah, that's their idea. That's how they frame it. Yeah, they frame it like everybody's acting like uncouth, or, you know, but it's like the morality's gone down the tubes, and
like suddenly you can't protest. Like, oh, the one right you're supposed to have, and suddenly these protesters are criminals.
Yeah, protesting it. Well, Breitbart. I don't know if you remember. Remember when Andrew Breitbart died?
Yeah.
The last video of him was him yelling at protesters to behave. He was at a fundraiser, and he was drinking a glass of red wine. And as he was like transferring from one cocktail area to another buffet or whatever at this thing where these protesters were, Andrew Breitbart, drunk, screamed at the protesters, "Behave, behave!"
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he died the next day. You know, and good riddance. You know, I mean, that's the thing, is you don't have to be nice about everybody. You don't have to be nice about everybody. When people talk about going back in time and killing Hitler, and then they talk about, well, I don't know, you don't want to be mean to people right now. You have to wait till they're dead to be mean to them. No, you don't. Hitler, if someone had fucking, Hitler was hosted at, the societies tried to accept Hitler. I mean, this is extensive. I mean, extensive. This is over extreme what I'm saying. But this is this idea that these people just listen to what they say. They're not saying just some vague stuff. They're saying really, really heavy hate stuff. And they cloak themselves as in entertainment, but it's not entertainment. It's not entertainment. It's incitement, which feels like entertainment, as we all know, because that's what's happened in our culture. Is incitement has been replaced, and entertainment's not enough. People want more. People have had enough of clicking on cat videos. Now they want to feel something more. They want to feel rage, and then they eventually want to feel violence, and they think some orgy of violence would be the ultimate version of being alive, until everybody's dead in the streets, and then the people who are still left alive are embarrassed about the whole thing. This is the old. We got an overstimulated culture who thinks they're bored. And what do they want? They want more and more. And what they think they want is they think they want violence until it really happens. But these people are part of that. And they're not harmless. That's what I just want to say. These are not harmless people. They should be pushed back against. They should be not able to get bookings at the Ryman.
Right, yeah. Well, as you know, because I mentioned it, the Ryman's owned by a corporation called the Gaylord Entertainment Company. So that's how it happened.
Yeah, and the Gaylord Entertainment Company was the one who got rid of the fucking amusement park, Opryland, so they could put in more hotel rooms for conventioneers. And they ruined Nashville right away. All anyone I know from Nashville. I mean, I didn't move to Nashville until 2001, but I lived there 13 years. The thing that people talk about the most is how much of a shame it was that amusement park went away. That was like everybody in Nashville's favorite thing. And that guy, Gaylord, said, we need more convention space, which of course nobody needs. Nobody has fun at a convention. Nobody, even the people who organize it. Like, it's like something that like is self-propelled. Like a convention happens because, I don't know, it's like some force of nature makes it happen because the people who are organizing it don't want to go. The people who go don't want to go. Nobody wants to go. Conventions are just like something like
money.
Like a dormant volcano that has to go off or something. I don't know what it is, but it's some force. And the last thing anybody needs is more fucking convention space. They need and more motel rooms. People hate hotel rooms. People hang themselves in the hotel rooms. People never hang themselves in an amusement park, Let's look at the stats some other day. But we can bring up the stats of how many people have committed suicide in an amusement park versus how many have committed suicide in a hotel. And everything bad happens in hotels. Amusement parks, man, at Opryland, people used to do high kicking and everybody's eating popcorn. I mean, that's the way life's supposed to be.
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that the entertainment company also ripped the Grand Ole Opry out of downtown Nashville and put it out in the convention center land that you're talking about.
Yes.
So that ruined Nashville for 3 decades.
Roy Acuff was mad at, because all these guys look like old time. You see, it's like all these guys were like, back then, since things were in black and white and everybody wore those crazy cowboy outfits, like it looks like they're, they somehow weren't business people, but they were all just business people who dressed like normal as soon as the camera stopped rolling and they took off their kerchiefs and their, took the googly eyes off their hats or whatever. And then they went and did, evil 1960s white man shit that was happening in the South. And so I guess Roy Acuff owned a lot of downtown and he wanted to move the Opry out of the Ryman because he didn't own the Ryman. He wanted to move it somewhere else or something. It's a story I'm not getting right, but it's something like he basically rented the entire downtown to porn theaters and pawn shops to make the Ryman be an unappealing place for the Opry, so he could move it out to his new location, which is now Opryland. So, so
it went to shit for years, and now it's back with lower.
Beware of any man wearing some outfit that makes him look friendly, especially if it's 1965. But any white man in Tennessee who's wearing smiling real big and has a lot of rings on, that's not someone you want to hang around with. And these guys had bourbon and cigars on stage with them at the Ryman. Because it's supposed to look like they're at a country club or wherever they think that this kind of somewhere they can do their quote unquote locker room talk. And which is, the real American talk. Everybody talks behind closed doors like this, which of course is not true. Only toxic pieces of shit talk like behind closed doors like that. But they like to have the idea that all Americans talk like that secretly when they're bourbon and cigars, wood paneled, theatrical masculinity, all this just overgrown adolescents think this way. These guys are all stunted. Okay.
Well, I guess this epitomizes too. Nashville's been thrown under the bus, to use a lousy expression, of people like Ben Shapiro is on stage with a wooden Indian. It's pretty sad.
It is, and that's why we got to get it together.
We were on stage at the Belcourt doing a podcast, and now look at the town. It's a big change.
Yeah, we just complained about normal stuff like traffic.
And Jack White, we were mad that Jack White arrived.
Yeah, that was like, I had this podcast, and Jack White came to Nashville and like took over all the publicity, and I was like, that's my publicity. I was like, he's taking all my space in the newspaper. I got real mad, and I said stuff like, Jack White says he doesn't like being bothered in public. Well, he shouldn't wear his Matador outfit to the coffee shop and stuff. And then that started an actual problem with me and Jack White. So I don't really feel like revisiting it, but I will tell you that unless you really don't like somebody, it's not worth it's really fun to like. Jack White doesn't like being made fun of, and I just thought, well, it's my job as a comedian to make fun of him then. But then it turned out I might have wanted maybe him to put out my record or something. Like, it's just be careful which hand you're biting. That's all. Just biting the hand that feeds is really fun, but until you're hungry.
But I was the field reporter on that episode because I was working at a coffee shop at the time, and he was the one I was there when he came in to get his latte, and I saw the outfit and the cane and the top hat and him walking around East Nashville when he had just arrived in his Chrysler, his vintage Chrysler. And I was like, uh-oh, I better tell Chris about this.
Yeah, I wish you hadn't told me. Started 3 years of terrible problems for me.
And then he ordered a sugar-free vanilla latte with skim milk. And I was like, oh my God.
Well, it's all water under the bridge. And I actually have to say that I've performed a couple times at Third Man Records, and I think it's nice of Jack to have let me in after I taunted him. But I was mad because I thought, I was drinking at the time, and I thought Nashville was my town, not Jack White's town. Which is, of course, deranged.
Deranged in a good way, though.
What I was wearing, you should have seen me. I wore cowboy boots and I was wearing a cowboy hat at the coffee shop. I wasn't far behind. Okay.
We got some videos tonight.
I don't know. What am I going to talk about? Oh yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember what we were talking. What I was going to say about.
I have you talk about overstimulation. I have an obituary to read that may or not be appropriate to read, but this young man was certainly overstimulated.
Okay, let's hear this. Is this a Nashville person who died?
He was from Franklin.
Interesting. Franklin is a suburb of Nashville. I don't know what its history was. Now it's a wealthy suburb. It's kind of like in Los Angeles, it's like the Pacific Palisades of Los Angeles. It's like a wealthy town. Reminds me of where me and Greg grew up in New Canaan, Connecticut, which is like a place near New York, but far enough away that it can have barns and stuff, so rich people can feel like they're farmers.
Yeah, except there's way more churches.
Yeah, so Franklin's like a fake farm for rich people where they actually wouldn't know the first thing about how to operate anything in a barn or a field, but they have that stuff. They have like a few hay bales around to make themselves feel important.
I watched the beginning of The Way Down, that new documentary on HBO, and they talked about the Brentwood bubble and how there's no diversity in a church on every block. Anyway, so this is where this guy was from. His name was Alexander Nicholas Parks, Parkes. 29 years old. He exited his body at home in Franklin, Tennessee on October 13th, 2021.
Exited his body?
Even although we know his indomitable spirit lives on with us. Alex was born March 3rd, 1992 in Nashville. He was a lover of life and experienced it at full throttle. Perhaps.
That means alcoholic. Whenever they say somebody's full throttle, it means they do breaking and entering, and they drink.
Perhaps a bit too wide open sometimes.
Oh, is that what it says in that thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So he was like cocaine too. It's like when remember Greg many years ago, and I mentioned this on Daily Zeitgeist that I think I did, or maybe I forgot, but back in the 90s when what's his name, the guy I went out with Angelina Jolie, Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton, when Billy Bob Thornton was in his prime and he thought he basically was on his way to taking over the world in 1994.
Yes.
He said that he's like, I live life like a piece of steel being shot through a wall. And I remember at the time just thinking all that means is he does coke. Like that's the only way. Celebrities, like when they've reached the pinnacle, and it reminds me of like also Charlie Sheen when he just ended up smoking rocks in like a chair. You know what I mean? Like that's what celebrities like, they reach the pinnacle and then they're all by themselves smoking rocks. Because it's just the only thing that makes them feel like a celebrity more than being a celebrity is cocaine.
If there was
now I'm a celebrity. I knew I was a celebrity before, but now I really know it.
If there was fun to be had, Alex was in the middle of it.
Oh man, is this a obituary or an intervention? It's like a post-mortem intervention.
Mom flagged this call. She reads the
I love it.
On a family vacation to Italy, Alex was 12 years old. We were having lunch on the island of Burano, and the young waitress told Alex some story about the blue pail of water next to the door for the stray cats, and how it was for watering down little boys if they misbehaved. Alex retrieved the bucket, sneaked up behind her, and doused her. She filled up her own bucket and chased him down the canal and across a bridge, but he was too fast. Classic Alex.
Who wrote this?
I guess his mom.
Wow.
Or his wife.
Frustrated novelist.
With his captivating smile and charming personality, Alex never met a stranger and developed a wide network of friends. Those lucky enough to earn his friendship had a fierce, loyal friend for life, someone to defend you to the end, even if it was to his personal detriment. He
had a lot of fights in parking lots, I guess.
An enthusiastic boy and an energetic man, Alex was both a kind brother and a thorn in the side of his three sisters.
Oh, my God.
As siblings do, they loved and fought, supported each other when needed, and heckled each other when not. A bright student with a curious mind and a deep philosophical perspective, after finishing at Overbrook School in Nashville, Alex found a home at both Kent.
Found a home in state prison, where he stayed for 9 years.
School in Kent Hill, Maine.
Before he busted out.
And then Riverside Military Academy in Georgia.
Military Academy? Oh, my God.
So he went to Maine and then Georgia.
Yeah. That's what they do with thorns in the side.
At Riverside, Alex found brothers and his friends and the Street Marines. Whatever that is.
What? Say that again?
Found brothers and his friends. Oh, the Street Marines, quote unquote.
What the hell is the Street Marines?
I don't know.
That's like his gang or something?
Continuing his education at Bryant University.
This is like a good book.
In Rhode Island, Alex found another. So he transferred to Rhode Island, found another brotherhood in his fraternity, Deke, allowing him opportunity to learn amongst friends and engage in more than a few pranks, we're told.
Oh, no. How long is this? They describe the pranks? I hope not.
Alex grew up playing hockey with his father.
Oh, my God.
Lacrosse through high school. This is where it gets good.
Who cares, though? Okay, good. He played soccer and he switched to lacrosse.
Despite his thin and wiry frame, he took on powerlifting later in life. In fact, he easily took up any and all physical challenges he could think of, from hiking, climbing, and bouldering to
And
the piece of
murdering.
fly fishing.
Murdering.
Extremely creative and easily...
Huge fan of digging shallow graves. Alex, blah, blah, blah.
One more paragraph.
Is his name Alex?
Yeah. Alexander.
Yeah.
Extremely creative and easily distractible, Alex had a constant stream of hobbies. As a child, it was fly tying, blacksmithing, and woodworking. More recently, napping and gardening, while adding to his repertoire, among others. With an extraordinary green thumb, every plant he touched turned to life and beauty. Not to be forgotten is his love of animals. Growing up, Alex was...
That same thumb he murdered a man in Baltimore with.
Alex was a keen equestrian, participating in the Middle Tennessee Pony Club and hunting with Hillsborough hounds. But Alex had a fierce and special attachment to dogs. Anyway, you get the idea.
How did he die? Does it say?
It doesn't say.
How old was he?
He was 29. He met his wife in April of this year.
Oh, he died at age 29.
I think he was, 29. Yeah. He got married in April and he's dead now.
Wow.
So he must have died from suicide or something. He seems like he was bipolar.
Sounds like whoever wrote that article was bipolar too.
He fell hard and fast for Katie Hudson Parks. They met in Utah.
God, what a bunch of narcissists. Who cares? I don't care where they met. Hard and fast. What does that mean? Is that supposed to be a sex? Are we supposed to picture sex when they say he fell hard and fast? Does that mean I immediately picture the two of them having sex? That's a very colorful obituary. Well, he packed a lot of life. He was obsessed with he packed a lot of life into 29 years.
I know that's right.
Like he was obsessed with dogs and starting fights in parking lots and military academy. He was in the street Marines, whatever the fuck that is. Sounds horrifying. Sounds like a right-wing militia. A lot like that.
How can you be into blacksmithing when you're a child?
It doesn't say blacksmithing, does it?
Yeah, you missed it. Yeah. As a child, he was into fly tying, blacksmithing, and woodworking. And then more recently, gardening and napping.
Fucking fly tying. That's some white man shit right there. Fly tying. That's fly fishing shit. That's probably all. His dad probably made him tie flies when he really wanted to be doing whatever he's passionate about, which sounds like violence. It's like his dad probably... So no kid wants to tie flies. Anybody in the chat room? Anyone in the Hot Storks ever tied a fly before? Probably not. Because you probably didn't grow up in like some Civil War reenactment backwoods nightmare. That's a white men, man. When they get rich, they love to fucking fly fish. I bet Kurt Russell's standing right next to goddamn Bruce Willis in the same stream in Montana fly fishing right now. You know they are.
Well, Bozeman, Montana is the capital of fly fishing. My friend Chip just said the place is fucking... He's like, what's the last time you were there? I was like 95. He's like, oh my God, you wouldn't recognize it.
I don't know why white people are so crazy about fly fishing. It's something about this. It's connected to this idea that white people like they're just very self-important, and they like to think that they somehow like have something to do with nature that they don't. Like they like to think they're masters of nature, but they aren't. They're just like, they just wait till they make a lot of money and then they get some guide to take them fly fishing, and they think that makes them a master of nature. It's very strange, but it's like a lot of like, Lewis and Clark fantasies running through white people, and they act them out in these strange theatrical things like fly fishing. Like somehow it's like, and then someone will write about it. Like some white author will write a book about fly fishing called like The Zen of Fly Fishing. And like, I tied a fly and I felt my ancestors' blood coursing through me, blah, 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 when their ancestors probably built the railroad by shooting people. Like, that's what I like. All these people are confused about their backgrounds, just the way they're confused about where they think food comes from. And they really have a lot of magical thinking. There's a tremendous amount of magical thinking involved in white supremacy that is just plain old I don't. It's just I don't know. I just think it's funny when people are supposed to be supreme. You know, the idea behind supremacy is, of course, that you are supreme, but to be so ill-informed. I just always thought that if you're supreme, you would have a better you would have a better grasp of reality. I mean, wouldn't that be part of it? Being supreme, you would think you would know stuff. Anyway, I just think supremacy is funny when it's backed up by absolutely nothing except confidence.
Well, if you
violence and the threat of violence.
Well, if you own all the land and you dominate the economy, then you have to play polo or fly fish.
Yeah, it's just funny. It's just there's sort of an intellect that they think is connected to them that is not there. And if you ask them 4 questions, they just lose their mind and say they're going to stab you because they have no actual knowledge. And that's the thing with
Ben Shapiro.
Who cares? Yeah, Ben Shapiro. I mean, it only takes about 4 questions for them to get very angry.
Whereas we're very even keeled.
Well, I mean, I figure I can do more than 4 questions.
No, I didn't say you're. I said we're.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just mean that like your regular person isn't like all wound up and thinking somebody's trying to make a fool out of them all the time. Oh, who cares? I mean, I don't want to talk about. I'm sorry, I even brought it up again. But it's impossible to talk about fly fishing for me and not think about performative whiteness. And
Dick Cheney, of course.
And Dick Cheney, yeah, all those motherfuckers who don't do anything except leech off their parents, and then they get a bunch of inherited money, and then they just strut around fly fishing, and that's supposed to be, I don't know what that is, but it's just theater, and it's backed up by absolutely nothing. And if I see anybody fly fishing, next time I see anybody fly fishing, I'm going to kick the rod out of their hand and say, just cut it out, you fucking asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe the Comanches.
Cut it out.
I think the Comanches come back.
Yeah, the Comanches, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come out of the woods on horses.
Yeah, they're like, why are you fucking making a big deal out of this? Just get the fish. Stop fucking tying shit. Idiot. Anyway, if anyone sees any of people fly fishing in the next, little while, make sure to attack them, break their rods, call them fools.
Brother, I've been hitting people with sticks my whole life.
And also, can you hit that, you bloody fool? Okay, well, we've wasted the whole show yelling about white people, as usual. Which I'm pretty mad at them. So if we do this every show, I'm kind of okay with it. So I hope everybody's enjoying their time in there. What's everybody talking about in the power directions? Anything?
I haven't
Ben
looked
Shapiro's debate style is talking fast. That's true. It helped with my depression a lot, but yeah, there were a lot of dicks, and you're pretty spot on with the normal. I don't know what that is. Oh, is he talking about fly fishing? Okay, well, let's watch a little bit of what does it say? I'll give you all the canaries if you kick the fly rod out of my bro's hands. Okay,
Canaries!
Yeah.
This is a day.
What's that? Oh no, let's not watch Steve Jobs today. We'll watch Steve Jobs next week. But this week, let's look at Alicia Scott sent us a great video. Alicia Seabury. She sent us a great video of a guy who's like doing like a psychoanalysis of ghosts or something. But he's another one of these guys who does not impress me. And he's really one of those guys who also is talking in a way that makes me think he didn't think about what he was going to say and just turned on the camera. But this guy's got graphics and stuff. He's got more. His production value is not bad. His content is questionable. But listen, thanks for tuning in this week. We'll watch a little bit of this, and then we'll see you next Wednesday. And in the meantime, I'll just mention that November 14th at Club TG in Atwater Village, I am playing a show for the first time in forever in Los Angeles. And that's going to start, I think it starts at 9. I'll probably go on about 10. There's an opener, and he's great. His name's Thomas Berg. I'm playing music, but when I play music, I always talk a lot of shit too. So it's kind of like a stand-up show and a music show. But November 14th in Los Angeles. And
And
the other,
Atwater Village is cool. I've been there.
yeah, and then the other thing is I don't remember the other thing. But okay, let's watch the I'm gonna put something on. I keep saying this. I'm not gonna even say it. Okay. Let's watch this ghost hunter guy who's you know, let's put it this. I think he's overconfident. Let's put it that way.
Hello, my name is Chris Boris, and I am the first ever ghost behaviorist. And I'm sure your first question is, what is a ghost behaviorist? Well, somebody that studies the behavior patterns of spirits. And up until now, no one has ever done this before. And this is highly critical because if we're trying to find the next level in ghost hunting, you have to start getting into the psyche of a spirit, and that's exactly what I've done. And I'll talk about how I've broken all that down, and I've got a really neat diagram to show you what it's all about. And if you don't believe in spirits, then this video is not for you. Please just click away. But you know, I feel like I haven't really done any type of video like this before because I didn't feel like the time was right. But now people are starting to awaken, so to speak, and I feel like this is the perfect time because there's a certain part of the paranormal aspect and the ghost hunting world that no one is really touching upon, especially when you look at paranormal TV. You know, and it's sad because I've pitched show after show after show that tries to get into this area that people are so interested in learning about, and they don't want to touch it. So I don't know if it's too sophisticated for them or if there's a hidden agenda or what. You know, we'll get into that in a later episode. But for this episode,
Can you pause it real quick? See, this is the typical. I mean, I'm not saying this guy's a fucking white supremacist, but this idea that there's a conspiracy against you if you don't have any talent is, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, I've pitched show after show, and I'm not sure if people aren't ready for it or if there's some kind of an agenda where they keep saying no to me. Have you ever considered that you're an idiot? I mean, I just think it's so funny. It's not a conspiracy to deny everybody a television show. I mean, not every. Who cares? Anyway, I also like these things behind him. I like that he put up those statues behind him and that he's wearing that necklace, which means he's a ghost hunter. In case you were wondering if he's a ghost hunter, you can tell from his 3 paperweights behind him.
To answer the question of what is a ghost behaviorist, back in 2012, I was researching things like psychology, sociology, ancient texts, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, Egyptian Book of the Dead, and I was learning a lot to the point where the things I was implementing into ghost hunting was just far exceeding.
He was learning a lot. He was learning so much that the things he was implementing into ghost hunting. What? Sociology. He read a bunch about sociology. The Egyptian Book of the Dead. I just think it's so funny. He's just listing. I mean, what do you mean he learned a lot? I bet he read a PDF of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and I bet he read about 4 paragraphs. And he somehow learned enough that he's still wearing that shirt, a checkered shirt. He didn't learn that much.
Well, you can learn a lot when you're a blank slate.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, he's like, oh man, there's some people called the Egyptians. This is crazy. Sociology's crazy. I can't wait to inject that into my ghost hunting. How are you going to do that? What? I don't even know what I just said. You know, like, what are you talking about? I don't know. I'm doing my show.
So this guy's a ghost behaviorist?
Yeah, he's like he's going to psychoanalyze ghosts, I guess, because he read about sociology and because he's sitting in front of 3 statues in his house in Peoria. I mean, you know, this is great.
He's definitely
I love
ambitious.
This. Oh, sure. He's ready to tear everybody's face off. Look at him. He's practically wants to come out of the screen and explain ghosts to you.
Well,
Don't you see why you should greenlight my show? Ghost Doctor? Well, let's keep going. I want to
my
hear more. I like this
expectations, and I couldn't call myself a ghost hunter anymore because the stuff I was doing
He's a ghost
was kind of
headquarters. Look at that
transcending what
thing.
everybody else was doing. And I'm not saying that to boost my ego. It's true.
That was him in the
The
fucking
first
cockpit
time
of the
out
Ghost
using
battleship,
this foundation that I started building up from, I ended up getting a 90-minute interaction with a spirit. Now let this sink in for a second. 90 minutes. If you watch any of these shows on TV, you'll see that the longest interaction today is probably a minute. I'm going to say 2 minutes. I'm going to be very conservative there and say, okay, 2 minutes. But this far exceeded that. The first time out using this, 90 minutes long, and I'm not lying about this. I've got this documented. I did a documentary on it, and I'm not being a one-trick pony here either. This is something I've done over and over and continuously because I found the key. I found the way to get into an interaction with a spirit, interview them, pull information from them, and I have found the next level in ghost hunting. So that's why I called my book that I released Ghost Hunting 2.0, because the stuff that I was doing just
That's a great
it boggles the
name.
mind.
Ghost Hunting 2.0. That's a really good name. That's a good name. What's he talking about? He talked to a ghost for 90 minutes, and the average time people talk to ghosts is 2 minutes. Is that what he says?
Yeah.
Wonder where he got that. I guess probably studying sociology. They probably talk about that in sociology.
He shouldn't be allowed to publish his own book.
If someone in the Gimlin in the Hot Storks, if someone in the Power Directors wants to buy that book and send it to us, it might be nice. Ghost Hunters 2.0 is it called? I bet it's a nickel on Amazon.
Yeah, I bet Amazon would print to order if you order it.
All right, well, this guy's a moron, I guess. I mean, there's not much else to say about him. Let's try him. I want to roll it a little bit more though, because I enjoy hearing a maniac talk.
Maybe that's why the networks aren't touching it. It's very threatening, and I get it, but at the same time, it's like I want to educate the people. And for a while now,
what did that thing say? Hey, can you move us? Can you move our heads or something? Okay, I want to see what that thing said. Did it say "you bloody fool" like that duck?
But at the same time, it's like I want to educate the people.
Can you please replay? I just want closure because it sounded more like. Oh my God!
But at the same time, it's like I want to educate the people. And for
all right, we get it, Chris.
For a while now,
Stop
I've kind of held a lot of this stuff close to my vest because it seems like the stuff that I have put out there.
Wait, he's wearing a
because
vest?
look, I've talked to all the top people in the paranormal, been interviewed by
That
them.
guy.
Chris, welcome to the program. It's great to have you on Beyond Reality Radio.
Fuck, it's that
And
guy,
kind of
Beyond
floated things
Reality, the
past
number one
them.
show in the
And I'll
world.
be doggone, they're just piecemeal and stuff that I put out there, and it's so sad to see
Doggone.
them.
Pause it for a second. Man, doggone. He says doggone, piecemeal. He said one trick pony. This man is out of control, like all these guys. Like, I just love it. They should have someone holding up a cue card that says, like, here are the things you're allowed to say. Don't say anything about one trick ponies. Don't say doggone. If you're this guy is the world's premier ghost psychoanalyst and he says doggone. He's got to get his brand together. Fucking people who have those statues aren't supposed to say doggone. He reminds me of my old therapist, actually. My old therapist used to have those kind of statues in his office. He was a dream interpreter.
This guy needs a little fear and anxiety in his life.
He sure does. He needs he needs a makeover too. Oh, this is a perfect candidate for the Ghost Hunter makeover. Oh my God. This show's a good idea. Like Queer Eye for the Ghost guy, someone said, I think. I mean, imagine this. The first thing I do is yank that gas station necklace off him.
Oh, there's the book. Gem City just sent us the book.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it costs $12.99 in paperback.
Oh, fuck. That's $11. That's $12.98 more than I'm willing to pay.
Chris Bores, Bores.
He sure does. Okay, I guess that's
Breaking new Ghost Hunting 2.0, breaking new ground.
What was Ghost Hunting 1? I feel like Ghost Hunting's not really. Has it really arrived? I mean, I guess it has, but I don't think it's 2.0. I mean, I don't even know are we at 1.0? I feel like we're at Ghost Hunting 0.8 right now. I think he made a big leap. Also, really, I mean, you cannot have a statue of like Krishna behind you and say "doggone." Let's try a little bit more. We got 2 minutes left. Power directors, you can go home if you want, or stay home, or you're probably already at home if you're watching this.
A square peg and jam it into a circle
I just want to
hole,
watch a little more of this,
which is what they're trying to do. I mean, you need the whole body of evidence to do this. But one of the things that I want to talk about today is being a ghost behaviorist really gets into the human side of a spirit. And this is something I haven't really seen done before. You know, so it seems like last year the paranormal shows tried to emulate this, where they're like, we're going to show you the next step of ghost hunting, which made me mad because I've been saying that for the last 5 years. I'm going to show you the next step of ghost hunting. So they're using my buzzwords, but you tune into these shows and you're like, well,
how do you get access
they're doing
to
the same exact thing they're doing since 2008.
Somewhere in a one-bedroom
and I know
apartment
because I've
in
watched
Kansas
these
City,
shows, I've studied them, I know their sticking points. I've watched them slam into walls, and then I sit there and go, using
the wrong
psychology,
words.
using
I'm just mad because they emulated my idea.
How can I navigate around those sticking points to find this next level? And I did it back in 2012.
How did he get into that submarine?
I have learned so much and
that's him in the basement of the Peoria Public Library.
I haven't even talked about yet or put in book form. So this is why I kind of want to do this channel now. The first thing I want to talk about,
I can tell you that right now,
is this revolutionary approach of decoding.
This is the kind of guy who says like Foo Fighters are better than Nirvana.
And I've done this because when you watch,
he looks like
or when you get into interactions
this guy loves
with the
Dave
spirit,
Grohl, you know it. Like he's like gonna do a ghost hunt, but then he's like, wait a minute, the foos are in town.
Exist in the afterlife, and this, when you look into science and sociology,
when you look into science,
you don't have the same personality.
Can you make that
type.
a soundbite?
There's different personality types, and when I'm talking about classifications of spirits, I'm not talking about poltergeist, phantom, residual, or intelligent, because it seems like that's the.
Could you pause it right there? And can we pose with that, and then we're gonna close the show because I want that as a thing for our promoter show. I don't even know what it means, but I want it as a promotion. Hold on. Let me get my cold brew of the picture.
Gem City Record Collection says the book has 2 chapters, the 90-minute conversation, and a chapter on the Tibetan Book of the Dead.
Actually, fuck this. I'm not going to put this Califia cold brew up in the picture. It makes me look like a hack. I just want to look like this.
SD Charlie posted a review of the book. Frustrated ghost hunter claims to be innovative but fails to prove his point. I found most of his claims to be unsubstantiated and more representative of his opinion. Obscure references to ancient texts and even quantum physics is not compelling. People who know nothing about the activity may find it interesting.
People who know nothing about the activity. People who know nothing about reality might find the Sears catalog interesting. God, this is the second week in a row I've mentioned the Sears catalog. Listen to me making fun of other people for saying doggone and one trick pony, and I'm referencing the Sears catalog. All right,
Seaberry Buddy, who gave us the video, right? She said one of the reviews has a pic of the book in a toilet.
Well, I bet that makes him mad too. He's probably pretty mad. He seems like
thanks for sending the video.
A lot of people are emulating his idea. All right. Well, listen, guys, we'll be back next week. I would like to spend a little bit more time with this guy because I really would like to revisit this guy. I like him a lot, and I feel bad for him. he's trying his best to get his brand out there, and no one's green lighting his red hot show idea. And don't forget, as a fan of Cold Brew Got Me Like That, our new slogan is Poltergeist, Phantom, Residual, Intelligent. Poltergeist, Phantom, Residual, Intelligent. That's right. PPRI. That's all you need to know, really. Hashtag PPRI. Thank you, Greg Crofton. Thank you, Power Directors. Thank you,
Eric Wilson.
Thank you, Twitch, for putting this whole machine together. And thank you, Eric Wilson, for manning the fucking controls. This has been Cold Brew Got Me Like 2.0.
Cold Brew got me like, hello, it's me.